Okay, welcome back to 12th Asian Raptor Research and Conservation Network Symposium. So this is the session 3. So before we getting started, so a bit introductions of myself. My name is Zamri Rosli. So I'm the Dean at the Faculty of Agricultural and Forestry Sciences in UPM Bintulu campus. So Bintulu campus is the branch campus of UPM Serdang. Okay, and my field of study is in wildlife management, and I'm interested in conservation study of what do you call that, birds, small mammals and big mammals, and also the ecology of wildlife species. So before we start, I have a few housekeeping to be announced. So for the presenter, you have 20 minutes for the whole presentations, 15 minutes for the to present your paper, and 5 minutes for Q&A. Okay. And then if the participant, if you have the question, you may ask it directly, visually, or you can type it on the chat. So can we start, yeah? For the first presenter this morning. Okay, so I hope that Mr. Oki Hidayat is ready. So the titles of the presentations is Community Engagement on Flores Hawk-Eagle, Nisaetus floris, Conservation Action in Ende, Flores, Indonesia. So this paper was written by 3 authors, Oki Hidayat, Mr. Henning Tas, and Mr. Nerdi Norman Najib. So please, Mr. Oki Hidayat, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you very much. May I share my screen? Okay. Hello, everyone. Good morning for all. Firstly, I'll introduce myself. I'm Oki Hidayat from Forestry and Environment Research Institute of Kupang, Ministry of Environment and Forestry. Today, I would like to present to our project on the topic of community engagement of Flores Hawk-Eagle conservation in Ende, island of Flores, Indonesia. As I mentioned earlier, we are facilitator in the local community who decided to help and encourage them in an effort to conserve one of the most vulnerable raptor species in Indonesia and the only extremely endangered raptor species in Lesser Sunda region. So I'm going to start with how Flores Hawk-Eagle treated in Indonesia and what effort that has been done in terms of strategy and action on preserving the species. Here is the milestone. The Flores Hawk-Eagle, Nisaetus floris, was first treated as a spirited species in 2004 because it's morphologically distinct from the previous changeable hawk-eagle. It was previously considered to be a subspecies of the latter. It's now an Indonesian endemic, only known to occur on the island of Flores, Sumbawa, and Lombok, as well as on the 2 satellite islands, Satonda near Sumbawa Island and Rinca near Flores, or in the National Park of Komodo. It has recently been discovered also in Alor Island, and it's apparently present throughout the island. The distribution area of this species is limited mainly in lowland forest to submountain with an 100 above sea level. The main habitat is covered by primary and secondary forest vegetation. The Flores Hawk-Eagle is keystone species whose presence has a significant impact on ecosystem stability. So, and then according to the IUCN, Flores Hawk-Eagle is listed as a critically endangered, so included in the red list since 2009, because its population is estimated not exceed 100 pairs, based on the extent of suitable habitat and the territory estimation of 4,000 kilometers square. The lack of records obtained during field work within its range suggests it occurs at low densities, supporting this population estimate. Population trends now are not known, but it assumed to be declining owing to ongoing forest loss in Lesser Sunda, especially in Forest Island. In Indonesia, Flores Hawk-Eagle is designated as 25 priority species targeted for a population increase of 10% in the decree of Director General of PHKA, Ministry of Environment and Forestry. And also in 2018, the preparation of the strategy and the conservation action document has been initiated by many stakeholders. This step is one of the important stages because this document will be the basis for carrying out the real work in the field of to save the species. Then in 2019, there was a group of people, the local group, who paid attention to the presence of Flores Hawk-Eagle in their area, which are in Ende, Flores Island. And then with support from the local government and facilitated by conservation activists, the community group then formed a local organization. It's called Jatabara. The word Jatabara is taken from the language of the Liu tribe in Flores Island. Jata means big eagle, and Bara means white, or in other words, Jatabara is Flores Hawk-Eagle in local language. Later on, to support their activities, we have compiled and have implemented a program called Flores Hawk-Eagle Bird Nest Adoption in 2021. We initiated this program in partnership with Airnav Indonesia and also local community in Wolojita sub-district, Ende, Flores. Nest adoption is a program that aims to restore Flores Hawk-Eagle population and preserve its habitat, as well as to encourage community involvement in conservation. As we know, human beings as a part of nature, so therefore it's a vital to human community participation in conservation activities. This is especially true while attempting to implement conservation programs where good quality forests still exist outside protected area. Okay, here is the map. The activity was carried out in Wolojita and the Regency, the island of Flores. The location is a buffer zone for the Kelimutu National Park. In Wolojita, where this area is not a protected area, an activeness of Flores Hawk-Eagle has been found since 2014. Some local communities are consciously willing to protect this species in their village. Taking this into account, so we think that they have to be appreciated by providing them with a good program that can help in effort to protect Flores Hawk-Eagle in their area. Okay, this is the Jatabara members. Since its establishment, Jatabara has carried out several activities related to eagle conservation. Here's some example: monitoring and protecting the habitats, conservation campaign, and also assisting several Flores Hawk-Eagle researchers. Furthermore, in implementing the nest adoption program, we use 4 approaches. We choose these 4 aspects because in order to protect the eagle, it's not only we have to protect the species, we also need to consider the people around it, the people who live side by side with the eagle. So we think that with the presence of Flores Hawk-Eagle in the Wolojita village, it should also be benefit to the community. Therefore, we also use educational, cultural, and economical approach apart from the ecological aspect of Flores Hawk-Eagle. So we'll talk about the first aspect. In ecological aspect, we ensure that Flores Hawk-Eagle nest is maintained until it's able to produce offspring. So we don't let the breeding process be disrupted by human factors such as hunting or nest destruction. And also the step taken are to carry out routine or frequently monitoring and also guarding the nest from the potential threats. In addition, the Jatabara group also recorded the breeding process. So all the breeding process stage recorded by the community member. One of the obstacles faced by Jatabara is the lack of supporting equipment. So we try to help them by providing monitoring equipment such as binocular, GPS, digital camera. We also train them on how to use, how to record the data properly and how to observe properly. We also train them how to use monitoring equipment. They need to use it because most of them work as a farmer. So this was the first time using the equipment for them. Okay, this is, you can see here, these are the record in 2021 of the nest and offspring Flores Hawk-Eagle in Wolojita. The above picture, we took it on May 2021. One hatchling from one age. So Flores Hawk-Eagle only produced one age at that time. And the image below, the photograph was taken on October. The offspring leaving the nest and learn how to hunting the prey. And then the second approach is education. We use conservation education. Conservation education enables people to realize how natural resources and ecosystem affect each other and how resources can be used wisely. Conservation education also develop the critical thinking skill. They need to understand and complexity of ecological problems. And also from conservation education, it encourages people to act on their own to conserve natural resources and use them in a responsible manner by making informed resource decision. And help people of all ages understand and appreciate their natural resources and learn how to conserve those natural resources for future generation. So conservation education, we think it's very important component for education because its goal is to teach the theory and practices of preservation and restoration of biodiversity affected by human activities. So we use this method to raise awareness among the younger generation in Wolojita to preserve the Flores Hawk-Eagle. So we made this, the student activity book entitled Flores Hawk-Eagle, Let Flores Hawk-Eagle Fly Freely. The process in conservation education that we had done is delivering the text content of the activity book, which was performed by a student in front of the class. And then every 2 pages, they took turn reading the book. After reading, the interactive lecture was given to provide explanation and the details of the ecology of the species. In order to prevent the student from getting bored, so we provide relaxing but conductive classroom atmosphere by applying Flores Hawk-Eagle video breaking using interactive games. And then activity books were also distributed to each student. Here is the example pages of the book. So the book was made as attractive as possible with full illustration so that the student can understand and of the ecology of Flores Hawk-Eagle easily. We have also inserted some games in the book, so they are actively involved in conveying the message of the conservation. The third approach is culture. We need to know that cultures is very integrated with the life of the people in the island of Flores. One of the culture which cannot be separated from daily life is woven fabric or ikat weaving. Ikat is term used to collectively describe the beautiful woven textile found throughout eastern Indonesia. There are 7 meanings of the ikat weaving. The first, it can protect its protective equipment from the heat and cold and the influence of the weather. And then it can be as aesthetic and beauty, and as an ethic of protecting certain body parts so as not to feel ashamed. It also can be meaning in terms of socially, showing prestige, the level of society, king, nobility, ordinary people, or etc. And also it can be means in the economy as a medium exchange, or this can be sold. So the community can get the profit. It has a cultural function. From anthropological aspect is the appreciation on granting of marriage or death, the functional of customary law as customary fines to control disturbing social balance, and also myth is a tribal symbol that is exalted because of belief in style or descent precise will protect them from natural disturbances, disaster, evil spirit, and others. So we assist one of the effort integrated Flores Hawk-Eagle conservation value into cultural ikat weaving. We encourage the weaver community, which is all of them are women, to create the new pattern that symbolize the Flores Hawk-Eagle into their ikat weaving. This pattern then became a hallmark and pride of them. The existence of Flores Hawk-Eagle pattern in their weaving illustrates the integration of their lives with Flores Hawk-Eagle. They also get their economic benefit from the sale of ikat weaving. Through Flores Hawk-Eagle pattern in ikat weaving, the Wolojita community also was able to introduce the existence of the Flores Hawk-Eagle in their area, in their village, and expand to the general in public about the importance of Flores Hawk-Eagle for them.
Dayat, you have 5 minutes before your time ends. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Later on, all the efforts and activities above will not succeed without the support of the local government. Therefore, we have built a good relationship and convinced about the importance of this species because there was not much support and attention from the previous local government. This some of the photo we have met with regional leaders and other important public figures, convinced them to support this conservation effort. We also have brought them in the midst of Wolojita community to see the existence, the Flores Hawk-Eagle firsthand, and delivering the statement to support Flores Hawk-Eagle conservation directly in front of Wolojita resident. And the next step, this program is not finished yet. We'll continue to make an effort to conserve Flores Hawk-Eagle with the community. For example, make Ende district become a district of Flores Hawk-Eagle conservation, and then proposing the activity book into the local curriculum so it will be legalized, and encouraging local government to issue agency regulation on bird conservation, such as ban on bird hunting, illegal trapping, and also promoting bird watching, so guests can come to the Wolojita to see the birds, and the community will get the profit, will get the benefit. And also human Flores Hawk-Eagle conflict mitigation. As we know, Flores Hawk-Eagle, they tend to hunt the domestic chicken in the village. So we will mitigate this conflict and also building the rehabilitation center. Last but not least, I would like to acknowledge the people and organizations that support us in this activity. We hope this local action can contribute significantly for conserving the critically endangered Flores Hawk-Eagle. Thank you for all the best for you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Oki Hidayat. What a very interactive presentations talking about the community involvement in conserving Flores Hawk-Eagles and how they put on the awareness of Flores Hawk-Eagles among the community. So if we have question, we have about 3 minutes to ask Mr. Hidayat. Please, if you have question.
Yeah, I have a question for Bapak Hidayat. Tahniah, congratulations Bapak Hidayat for your effort in Flores. I think it's absolutely interesting. I have three questions. In terms of the local villagers monitoring the nest, right? Do they monitor every day? If they don't monitor every day, how often do they monitor? So that's my first question. Second question, you have the ikat industry going on. Where do they sell the ikat to? Okay, question number two. And the last one is that you also have an adoption scheme, I think was baru lancar, the launch in 2021, right? How successful is your adoption scheme, right? How many nests is adopted, for example? Thank you, Baba.
Thank you for the question. So the first question, so the local members, they monitor the nest once a week, but in the case where which is in the breeding season, the monitoring will be frequently. And for ikat weaving, until now, local community only sell it locally. So we have to improve this. So we have planned to sell this ikat weaving nationally and even internationally. So people can buy the ikat weaving. They can buy the product, not only buy the product, but also it will encourage people to conserve the Flores Hawk-Eagle. And then the third question, until now, we record that there was 4 individual offspring from the Flores Hawk-Eagle from 2014 until now. So until now only one nest, but we also want to try find another nest from another location in the Wolojita or in the other village.
Okay, thank you very much, Bapak Ayub tadi. On the question, that is the only times that we have because we are already run out for the time. Okay, Mr. Hidayat, thank you very much for your very interactive presentation. Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, and now we come to the second presentations, which will be presented by Sakinah Ravindran. The titles of their presentations is short.
Summary.
The one.
Yeah. The third presenter will present first.
Is Sakinah first, right?
No, Dr. Hasper first.
Oh, Dr. Hasper. Sorry.
If possible, can I request to present first? Before? Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Sorry. All right, the titles is Sustainable Palm Oil in Barn Oils in Malaysia, presented by Hasber Salim. This paper was written by him and Sakinah Ravindran. Please, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Chairperson. I hope you can hear my voice clearly and you can see my slide. So someone please let me know if you can hear my voice, because I cannot see all of you.
Dr. Hasper is okay, yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, I'm Hasber Salim. I'm from Ban Owl and Rodent Research Group, USM Penang. Today, I would like to share our short-term result from our translocation program, translocate Ban Owl from Peninsular Malaysia to Borneo. Basically, this program is in collaboration with 3 parties. FGV R&D led by Mr. Norisham and Cik Muhammad Rizwan. And then we have members from University Putra Malaysia from Faculty of Agriculture led by Dr. Hafizi and the team. And also our team, Ban Owl and Rodent Research Group from USM. And before I proceed with the sharing, I'd like to introduce you with our research group, Barn Owl and Rodent Research Group. This is a research group that we formed in US and basically to promote conservation and also promoting a barn owl as an effective biocontrol of rodent pests in agriculture, especially in oil palm plantation in Malaysia, because rodent pest is a major problem pest in the agriculture setting in Malaysia. So you can visit us in our Facebook. This is our Facebook, Barn Owl and Rodent Research Group, and also you can follow. Of course, everyone now have got social media or SOSMED. You can find us on Facebook as well as on Instagram. So this is some activities that appear in the local news as well as in a Barn Owl Trust. This is one of the active research group in UK, Barn Owl Trust. And this is our conservation activities as well as our service that we can provide to our clients. Basically, we are specialized in translocation and also introductions of barn owl in Malaysia. And we also do training, for example, like awareness campaign to educate public to conserve the barn owl, not project the barn owl as a something that's bad in their community. Yeah, I think everyone in this room agree with me. This is a very beautiful owl. It's with the heart-shaped face and fluffy feather. But a lot of people ask us why barn owl. Why barn owl? There's a lot of raptors. But the most important is barn owl. They are very depends or feed exclusively on rodents. So meaning that we can use them as a biocontrol to deal with our enemy. Enemy is a rodent pest in agriculture, especially in open plantation. So we can use this barn owl as a biocontrol naturally. So they will naturally help us, and then meaning that they will become our friend. And they have a voracious appetite if you compare with other raptors. So meaning you just imagine one family of owls, father and mother, and with 3 to 5 owls, they can consume up to 3,000 rats per year. So they are very, very like a killing machines of rat pest in rat pest population in plantation. And they're easy to propagate and they can breed throughout of the year. So it's almost similar with their enemy. So the prey and predator relationship you can see very clear when you go to the plantations. So when the prey drop, the barn owl population will slowly follow. If the rat population increase, the populations of barn owl also increase. It's a super amazing predator. You can see the super amazing predator. I won't talk in detail about this, but if you compare with other predator and raptors, this is in palm plantation ecosystem. Barn owl is super effective. We compare with, for example, like macaque. Macaque, they have a variety of diet, so they just consume 1 to 2 rats per week. So it's not effective biocontrol if you compare with barn owl. Barn owl, you just imagine one single barn owl, they can consume up to 4 rats per night. So they are very, very effective. But the problem with barn owl, they cannot build their own nest. This is the reason why the population in Malaysia before 70s, they're very, very low, a very, very low population in Malaysia. So this is a timeline of barn owl or the history of barn owl conservation in Malaysia. In 1800, the population is very low, very, very rare and very low. And even the first record of barn owl nesting in Malaysia recorded in 1969 by Mr. Whale. And in late 70s and early 80s, there's innovation or inventions of artificial nest box because scientists realized to increase the populations of barn owl in agriculture area, we have to provide them with a good hotel or habitat or nest because they cannot build. The food is plenty in the area, in the plantation, but without the hotel or without the nest, we cannot boost their populations. And in 90s, this is the populations of barn owl become endemic in Peninsular Malaysia. Yeah, but the problem in Malaysia, because we have 2 parts of Malaysia, East and West. West is the Peninsular Malaysia, but we don't have this species in Borneo, in Sabah and Sarawak specifically. So we don't have this species. We have to translocate them to this area, to Borneo, to help our planters to control their pest population. It is an introduced species in Borneo, in Sabah and Sarawak. There's a lot of efforts by all palm players to translocate barn owl to Borneo. Some of the efforts not successful, some with but most of the effort, in the early 90s, the result is not really impressive. But I'll share you our experience with FGV, UPM, as well as with both, how we do the translocation and to make sure the result in a positive. So yeah, again, barn owl is a protected species. So if you want to do a translocation, you need a permission from wildlife department, as well as you need to apply a permit. There's a lot of permits, state permits, federal permits, wildlife permits, as well as animal ethics. Yeah? So this is the translocations. We took or we harvest barn owl from Pahang. Pahang is the center state of Peninsular Malaysia, and we translocate to East Sabah, specifically in Bandar Sahabat, Felda Bandar Sahabat, located somewhere here. For sure, we translocate by air, not by land, because this is the Borneo is an island. So this is a collaboration between BOG, FGV, and UPM, as I mentioned in the first slide. So prior to release the barn owl in a new area, we install a nest box, both from different materials, from wooden and as well as a fiberglass nest box. So this is the study site in Felda Sahabat. This is the area. This is in the East Sabah. And this is the study size, about 400 hectares. We install about 16 nest box prior of the release of the barn owl. And this is the background of the program. Initially, we introduced 14 pairs of owl. It's just a very simple method. We harvest a wild barn owl in the nest box in Pahang, and then we just acclimatize in a very short time, both in Pahang as well as in Sabah. So this is a short acclimatization, about 2 weeks, and it's not successful. Yeah. Because after we release, we cannot trace the barn owl in the plantation, and we assume that the barn owl keep searching their original habitat, because we harvest the adult stage. So the adult stage, they already have what we call a homing instinct. So they keep moving out from the study site. And later, after 2 weeks, even in the Sahabat area, we couldn't trace them in the complex. But after that, we improve the methods of the introductions, and we study about the ecology as well as about the homing instinct of the barn owl. Then in 2014, we started again with the new method. With new method, we use acclimatized owl. We need to acclimatize them in a aviary for a long period, about at least 6 months. And also some of these owl that we keep in a aviary, they reproduce, and then we have a captive born owl in Sabah, and all of these owl version we release in our study site. And yeah, after 35 days, we noticed that the first nest box occupations naturally in the site. So, and then in 2014, we translocate another 7 acclimatized adults from Peninsular Malaysia, and we release in the study site. This is some activities when we do a sampling, and also to do some record of barn owl occupancy, as well as the breeding performance of the introduced barn owl. The introduced barn owl, they establish breeding population very well. There's no difference in terms of breeding class or brood size if we compare with the population in Peninsular Malaysia. And this is after 3 years, we evaluate the impact of introductions of barn owl in this plantation. And we can see clearly from the graph after I think after first year of the introductions here, we can see 100% occupancy. So meaning that every single nest box that we install in the plantation occupied by barn owl. So they're very how to say establish the population in the area, and then the positive result is from the establishment of this barn owl, we can see the impact to the rat damage on the fresh fruit bunch of all palm. So because the objective is not just to introduce barn owl in this area, but the main purpose is to help the plantation to use barn owl as a valuable control and to help them to reduce the applications of toxic rodenticide in plantation, especially in Sabah. And this is a latest news from FDV from Raigad to Sabah. And you just imagine from the about 20 birds that we translocated from Pahang and we brought to Sabah. And after 10 years, this is a 10 years because this is a long period of the study. The initial plan is a 20 years or 30 years study, but in the first 10 years, we can see that the barn owl is established very well. And until now, there's a report from the plantation. There's a lot of barn owl in the plantation, and from our census, they have about 2,000 birds in barn owl in the plantations, and the barn owl is everywhere in the complex, and even the applications of rodenticide that usually carried out by the plantations, because of presence of this barn owl. Previously, plantation they have to do a rodenticide application twice a year, but because of the presence of barn owl, because of the successful program of this introduction to the complex, and most of the plantation agree with us that they can reduce the applications of rodenticide and also to use less toxic rodenticide, not just to deal with the pest, but also to conserve barn owl. I mean the introduced barn owl in the plantation. I think I finished with my presentation. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Hasper Salim. A very interesting presentations. The title of his presentation just now is short-term result of barn oil translocation program from Peninsular Malaysia to Sabah, Borneo, isn't it? Mr. Hasper, yeah?
Yes, correct. Correct.
Okay, all right. And then also talking about the effectiveness of barn oil as the biological control, particularly in oil palm plantation. So I open the question for the floor. We have question for Mr. Salim.
Yeah. Selamat pagi, Dr. Hasper. Interesting to see that there's a and Salim. Interesting to see there's a group that is focusing on barn owl right now. Also good to see that we are slowly reducing the use of pesticides in agriculture area. So it is successful that the introduction has been successful. Can you give us an idea of how much saving that the company has saved in not using the pesticide, which you said twice a year, right? Application. So yes. How much did they save with barn owls in their estate? Thank you.
I don't have the specific figure, but I've been informed by the management of the company. They said you already cut off almost 50% of the applications of rodenticide. And the applications of rodenticide, everybody knows, is a very high in cost because it's involved with the, with the compound, with the chemical, yes, as well as the labor cost because they have to apply to entire of the plantation. And the feedback from the plantation is very, very good. They now cut off the applications of rodenticide from 2 rounds, 2 campaigns per year to just 1 campaign per year, especially during the off season of off-breeding season of barn owl, because we ask them to apply the less toxic of rodenticide, and they have to apply during the off seasons of barn owl. That because we introduce barn owl in the area, if they use a very toxic rodenticide, so there's no point, because basically to help them, but if they apply very toxic and they apply a big amount of rodenticide in plantation, so there's no point of the introduction of the barn owl in the area.
I think you're right, and it's amazing. It's amazing actually you reduce it to 50%.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, maybe don't have to answer this question. I'm just wondering that now that you have achieved 50% reduction, perhaps
Yes.
we could find what is the minimal amount of pesticide that they still need to use. So maksudnya,
Yes.
you can reduce even further up to the least
Yes,
minimum
correct.
that they can use lah. So I think
Yes.
that would be an awesome target to look for in future. Thanks,
This
Salim.
is just in the medium term, because we have a strategy for the long term. So maybe after 20 years of the introduction, maybe we can eliminate the applications of rodenticide at all in the plantation.
Okay, thank you, Bapak, for the question. And then I come across a question from the chat box. We have about the question is on the endemic of barn oil. So the question is it meaning the barn oils is not endemic oils in Sabah?
Yes, there's a lot of record that barn owl, specifically Tyto javanica, is not present at all in Borneo Island. So meaning that there's no species of Tyto javanica, but other owl species, yes, of course they're present in the island. But for the Tyto javanica, there's no such species in the island.
Okay, thank you. That is the straight answers. So, any other question? Okay, there is. We still have about 2 minutes. Yeah. Okay. Another question is there any other oil species can play a similar task as the barn oil from Peninsular Malaysia? I think this is more to how they use the barn oil in oil palm plantation.
Well, there's a lot of raptors and predators that prey on rats, but barn owl is something like super predator, because they consume a lot of rodent. Then we need a very effective biocontrol if you want to, if you want to educate our planters that the biocontrol is effective, then we can replace with the chemical control, because it's not easy to convince our industry players, that the biocontrol can help them, can replace the chemical control, because chemical control is so easy. You just apply in the plantation and you can control your rodent problem. But at the same time, you not just kill your enemy, but also the other animals in the plantation. So that is the strategy.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Hasbah Salim. That is the times that we have. Thank you very much for the interactive presentations just now. So let's come to the next presentations with the titles of Sustainable Palm Oil and Barn Oils in Malaysia by Sakina Ravindran. Please.
My name is Sakina Ravindran, and on behalf of my research group, the Barn Owl and Rodent Research Group of University Science Malaysia, I will be presenting this talk on the concept of sustainable palm oil and barn owls, especially in Malaysia. First, a brief introduction on palm oil. Since its first commercial plantation in the 1920s, palm oil has grown into a global commodity. Palm oil is one of the more popular vegetable oils in the market today, and its wide use is due to its high yield, versatility, and relatively low cost. Oil palm grows well in tropical climates, as can be seen in this map here. The major global producers of palm oil in terms of total planted area are Indonesia, followed by Malaysia. Like most monocultures, oil palm comes with drawbacks to the environment. Among its major impacts are environmental pollution, forest fires, biodiversity loss, and in the earlier decades of the industry, major deforestation. There have also been social issues related to the industry, such as the treatment of workers, and this all led to public outcry over the negative impacts of palm oil and the industry. And in response to this, the concept of sustainable palm oil was introduced. So, sustainable palm oil can be defined as when all sectors of the palm oil industry develop, produce, and use palm oil in a way that minimizes any negative impact on the environment and communities. There are several sustainable palm oil certification bodies, both local and national. Among the well-known international certification bodies are the Roundtable for Sustainable Palm Oil, RSPO, and as well as the Rainforest Alliance. Whereas national certification bodies are, for example, the Malaysian Sustainable Palm Oil Certificate and the Indonesian Sustainable Palm Oil Certificate. All these certification bodies broadly cover three aspects: people, profit, and planet. So this talk will focus more on planet, or in other words, the environment, and specifically integrated pest management. There are various invertebrate and vertebrate pests in oil palm plantations, and rats are one of the major vertebrate pests. In Malaysian and Indonesian oil palm plantations, the major rat pest species is the Rattus species. Pictured here is damage inflicted by rats on a fresh fruit bunch, and rat populations can cause from 5 to 10% loss of oil in plantations, which translates to, with current market prices, can translate to a loss of 200 to 600 US dollars per ton. So most sustainable certification bodies address pest management by encouraging integrated pest management, or IPM. For example, in the RSPO, Criterion 4.5 states that pests are effectively managed using appropriate IPM techniques according to national guidelines. According to the United States Environmental Protection Agency, IPM is defined as the effective and environmentally sensitive approach to pest management that relies on combination of common sense practices. In agricultural sectors, IPM typically encompasses physical, chemical, and biological control. And in relation to control of rat populations in plantations, IPM strategies typically include utilizing barn owls as biological control. In fact, the Malaysian Palm Oil Council actively encourages the use and presence of barn owls as biological control agents against rat pest populations. However, chemical control is still the favored option for the control of rat pest populations in plantations. Acute poisons such as zinc phosphide are sometimes applied, but the main or the favored method for chemical control is still the use of anticoagulant rodenticides. So in the earlier years of the industry, first generation rodenticides like warfarin were applied, but resistance began to spread in rat populations, so chemical control shifted to favor more lethal and faster acting second generation rodenticides such as brodifacoum. Anticoagulant rodenticides function by inhibiting the production of clotting factors, which interfere with normal blood clotting process, which can cause excessive bleeding and eventual death of the animal. However, rodenticides are not just specific to rodents and have been detected in non-target fauna. Primary and secondary consumption of rodenticides has been recorded in various invertebrate and vertebrate species, and rodenticide exposure can cause sublethal and lethal effects, especially in birds and mammals. Primary consumption is when an animal directly consumes the bait. Secondary consumption is when a predator preys on an animal that has consumed poison bait. And tertiary consumption is when a predator preys on an animal that is secondarily exposed to rodenticides. So shown here in this diagram are non-target wildlife in especially Malaysian oil palm plantations at risk for rodenticide rodenticide exposure and poisoning. So animals at risk for primary poisoning are those that could directly feed on baits such as wild boars, macaques, squirrels, domestic animals that forage in oil palms such as cattle, dogs and cats, and also granivorous birds. Animals at risk for secondary exposure because of frequent foraging in oil palm plantations and a high percentage of their diet consisting of rats, so hence they are likely to be exposed to rodenticides via poison rats. Animals such as barn owls, leopard cats, Asian water monitors, civets, as well as diurnal raptors such as kites. As previously mentioned, the Southeast Asian barn owl Taito javanica is widely used as a biological control agent against rat pest populations in oil palm plantations in Malaysia and Sumatra. So in most plantations, barn owl presence is encouraged, but at the same time, fixed annual baiting campaigns are carried out. So this exposes barn owls to secondary rodenticide poisoning as previously discussed. So as palm oil companies, barn owl populations to fulfill the criteria of sustainable practice, certification bodies should introduce stricter guidelines, especially in areas where barn owls are implemented alongside complementary baiting in order to reduce rodenticide exposure to barn owls as well as to other non-target animals. One step that can be taken by oil palm plantations and managers is using first generation rodenticides, which have a relatively lower toxic effect compared to second generation rodenticides. This does not mean first generation rodenticides are safer, they just have less toxic effects or less adverse impacts compared to more lethal and faster acting second generation rodenticides. Another step that can be taken is that instead of fixed annual baiting campaigns, plantations and managers carry out the census and bait method, which is when a census of the fresh fruit damage is carried out every few months, and when fresh damage is above the threshold level, only then is baiting carried out. So to do this, what is needed is a perception shift among oil palm players, which is a bit hard to achieve, as what is needed is that oil palm managers and workers cannot aim for the complete eradication of rats, as there needs to be a certain population of rats in order to sustain a healthy barn owl population. So what oil palm managers and workers need to do is they need to be able to accept a certain level of damage, So as long as the threshold level of, let's say, 5% damage is not exceeded, baiting does not need to be carried out. So this can reduce the cost of baiting as well as prevent the buildup of tolerance or resistance among the rat population. And more importantly, it can reduce the risk of non-target wildlife exposure to rodenticides. In line with all this, our research group is also promoting the concept of barn owls as a conservation ambassador species. So as apex predators, barn owls are ideal for biomonitoring pesticide levels in the environment. And in oil palm plantations, monitoring barn owl populations can help indicate the rodenticide levels in plantations as well as the surrounding environment. So by monitoring barn owl populations, what we mean is monitoring parameters such as nest box occupancy, number of eggs laid, number of owlets that hatch, and number of owlets that reach the fledgling stage. So in breeding seasons where these parameters are significantly lower, it could indicate that there is a very high presence of rodenticide in the environment, which is having a negative effect on not only barn owls but also probably to other non-target wildlife as well. So in response to this, oil palm managers and workers can and should work to reduce the rodenticide use in that area. So this can be done either by reducing the frequency of baiting campaigns or reducing the intensity of bait application. And to further study this concept as well, our research group is carrying out a project in collaboration with Felda Global Ventures, where we will be studying two barn owl populations and the mortality factors of barn owls in Malaysia. And we will also be investigating pesticide residue levels in dead as well as living owls. And we hope the results of the study can indicate the significant role of barn owls as a biomonitor species for pesticide and rodenticide levels in oil palm plantations. And that is all from me for this talk. The full write-up for this is available on our research group website, bog.usm.my. The write-up was written in collaboration with the Barn Owl Trust UK, so thank you very much to them for their input, especially Mateo for all his feedback. If you have any questions about this talk or our research group, you can contact us by email, or you can email our coordinator, Hasbah Salim. His email address is available on our website. You can also follow us on social media, Facebook and Instagram. That is all from me. Thank you for your attention and your time.
Thank you very much. Dr. Samri, are you there?
Oh, sorry. Okay, we open the question. We have plenty of times. We have about 5 minutes to ask the question. If you have question, I open the floor. I have question here, yeah. Particularly on the conflict with other species, because the barn owl is the introduction species, and then it is introduced to Borneo. Is there any conflict with other species? Maybe because the number of barn owl will increase, and then will be, some effect to other oil species.
Dr. Shakina, are you there? If not, if Dr. Hasbah is still there, maybe Dr. Hasbah can respond.
Can I respond to the question?
Yeah.
Yes,
on
please,
behalf
Dr.
of
Hasbah.
Shakina. Yes, Mr. Zamri, in Peninsular Malaysia, we don't have problem at all because it's a native species of Peninsular Malaysia.
Yeah.
But in Borneo, because this is an introduced species, that's why we have a medium and long-term assessment, because we want to see the impact of the introduction to other species. But after 10 years of introduction, it's been very successful, and now barn owl abundant in the complex of Felda Sahabat. So far, the impact or the negative impacts only to rat populations, but we are not sure in the long run. That's why the monitoring, we keep doing assessment, and also we do assessment to the community. What is the perceptions of the community? Because the introduction actually is the involved with the community surrounding of the plantations. But again, to the question just now, in Peninsular Malaysia, we don't have problem at all. But in Sabah, after 10 years, very minimal impact to other species. But in the long run, we keep monitor the effect of the introductions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Doctor, for the precise answer. Any other question from the floor? Count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, there is no question. So thank you very much for the presentations. Now we come to paper number 4, which is also about the barn oils, will be presented by Waradit Walku, about the barn oil island, models of barn oil reintroductions to a small area of palm oil plantation. So please, the floor is yours.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Friday morning. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. The previous story, you talk about barn oil in oil palm in Malaysia. This is a barn oil in oil palm too, but in Thailand. Our project start, our barn oil project start in Thailand about 30 years ago, maybe not more than in Malaysia, but okay, our project success in the large scale oil palm plantation. But this presentation is to show you in a small area translocation of barn oil, only a small area, only 5 hectares to translocation, only 1 pair of initial population. Okay, next scale, next slide. This is a picture of my barn owl that we, in the southern part of Thailand, we started program about 25 years or maybe 30 years ago, but now we can increase barn owl population more than 10,000 barn owl in use for rat control in oil palm plantation in the southern of Thailand, but only in the large scale oil palm plantation. But now the farmer call how to reintroduce or translocation barn owl to rat control biological rat control in a small scale, but oil palm. So we start a project in the 8 years ago. In Thailand, have a problem of barn owl and raptor, or many of natural predator of rat in the oil palm that secondary poisoning from rodenticide application for rat kill, for rat control. So many of barn owl, hawk-eagle and owl and small mammal kill in the oil palm. So in the oil palm, no have or minimum of barn owl predator or rat predator. So we just introduce rat predator to news to the oil palm for rat control. That is the that Thiomanicacid, the main pest in the oil palm plantation. Okay, next slide. Okay, next slide. Our project start in Borneo province, that in the southern part of Thailand. We translocation from barn owl chick from Pon province in the large scale. Our program barn owl project in the large scale oil palm plantation. We success in the more than 15 years ago, but we need to use barn owl in the small oil palm plantation. So we start the program in 2014 in the small area, only 5 hectares, that surround by the rubber tree plantation and some oil palm plantation surrounding the relocation, translocation site. Okay, next scale, next slide. If I showed in the Chumpon oil palm plantation, the large scale, we install more than 300 nest box in the large oil palm plantation. So I moved to barn owl chick 2 months old to the new area. Okay. This is a model of reintroduction or translocation barn owl. Only 2 barn owl chick 2 months old and captive or hold and or keep in the nest box that installed in oil palm in the translocation site and keep them in nest box only 1 week and feed them by rat in the evening. And after 1 week, we let them fly away and free living outside and support them with dead rat outside nest. We support only 1 week and let them forage, prey for themselves and free living, and check them in the breeding season in October, November, in the breeding season every year. We observe the program of barn owl that come back to occupy and use nest box in that we install in the small area every breeding season. This is in the picture in the first net of the program is only maybe not use the beautiful material. So we use a wood that we can looking for. We search from in the oil palm in the house of the farmer, but we can success from the first nest box. Okay, next slide. This is the reason of observation. We start from the 1 pair of barn owl. In the first year, only 1 artificial nest installed, and the second year only 1. Barn owl that we let them fly away and back to use nest box for egg laying, for brooding, for chick rearing. Only in the first year and second year only 1 pair that back to use, and we have only 1 nest box. So in the third year we add a new 2 nest box and check nest occupy in the breeding season. 2 pair that back to use nest box for egg laying and brooding. In the 2017, we add the new nest box to, so total in this year is 5 nest box, and 2018 we add two new, and total is 7. In 2019 we install new, total is 10. But in 2020 only 7 can use by barn owl because 3 nest box damage from the rain and the storm. In the last year 2020 we repair and install new one. So the total of nest box in this area is 11 nest box. Nest occupy is increased year after year from 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, and but in the last 3 years in 2019, 2020, and 2021, only 7 nest box that occupied by barn owl. So maybe this is the maximum capacity of the area of 5 hectares that barn can the barn owl can use the small area, but only because it's maybe dense, maybe many of barn owl in the small area. Number of chick reproduce is from the first year is 1, 3, 5, 5, 9, 14, and 17, and 15 in the last year, increase year after year. So we can build up the population, barn owl population from the one pair in the small area. This is a success, I think it success model like the Iceland of barn owl or community of barn owl or a village of barn owls, small area. We can take care, we can do anything in the small area, but barn owl in this small area in the Iceland fly away to hunt, to prey rat in the oil palm or many areas surrounding the small area. This is the model that I want to show you. If you can use this model and compare the large scale model, maybe it is the better to do for reintroduce or translocation barn owl to the new one, to the new area for rat control in the oil palm plantation. So I think maybe the farmer or Malaysia or Indonesia or some farmer in Thailand maybe use this model for use of barn owl for rat biocontrol. Again, okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for the presentations. What very interesting presentations, a bit different from the previous two. On the models of barn oil reintroduction to a small area of palm oil plantations based on research in Thailand and experience. So open the question for the floor to us. We have question. Okay, there is one question here from Badu. Is this question for Mr. Warawit, yeah?
No, sorry, that's not a question.
Not a question, all right. Is there any question from the floor?
I see the question in the monitor that asks me about barn owl is endemic species in Thailand. So I answer you that barn owl is the native or endemic species in Thailand and in Southeast Asia, Malaysia, and Laos and Cambodia and Myanmar. So, but in Thailand, barn owl population decreased from many factors. Maybe from the main factor is rodenticide application in the farm, in rice field, in the oil palm plantation for more than 30 years ago. Continued use of rodenticide every year. So in the oil palm, maybe like a killing zone of oil palm and raptor that migrate to the Malaysia, to Indonesia, to Philippines, that pass the Peninsular Thailand, and like a barn owl that affect from rodenticide application in farm, mainly in oil palm plantation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah,
question. Can I ask question to Mr. Grisak?
Yeah, Dr. Hasper.
Yeah, Mr. Grisak, I'm just wondering about diet of the introduced barn owl. Do you assess the diet of this introduced barn owl? Because we want to know the impact of the introduction to the target animal and also to the non-target animal in the area. Do you assess their diet?
Yes, thank you for your question. From the first of our barn owl project, we check and study and collect many of barn owl pellets for check the food item that my barn owl prey and eat. So I think about 100 or maybe 99% is Rattat monicus. That is the main prey and main pest in oil palm in the southern Thailand. It may be like similar like in Malaysia in Sabah.
Yes.
Thank you.
Mr. Gersap is so informative. I hope we can collaborate because I think we work in the same niche of research. So perhaps if I can have your email, or how do I want to contact you, perhaps you can share your email in the chat box. Then I can contact your research group. Is it possible?
Okay. Thank you. And Joy, and very happy to maybe join you in the future. Okay. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you very much, Dr. Asbah, for the question. So that is only the times that we have for Q&A. So our next presenter will be Professor Kuano on the historical-biographical study on Grey-faced Buzzard from the perspectives of the owl fox in Sanchez Mira, Cagayan, Philippines. So, Prof, the floor is yours, please. Thank you.
Good morning, fellow research enthusiasts. I am Mr. Verlino Patu, and I am going to present the historical-biographical study on Grey-faced Buzzard from the perspectives of the old folks in Sanchez Mira, Cagayan, Philippines, on behalf of our principal researcher, Professor Nisaetus B. Owano, who is on an important management meeting with the university officials. It is indeed a great honor and a wonderful opportunity to present to this body the result of our study. Our romance with the research about Grey-faced buzzards actually started from the time we met with Mr. Alex Chonco and Mr. Reservero from Raptor Watch Network Philippines Foundation, who inspired the team to conduct a study about this very interesting and peculiar raptor that come to visit our place every year. By the way, our place, the municipality of Sanchez Mira in the province of Cagayan, Philippines, is about 653 kilometers away from the capital of the Philippines, Manila. That is 10 to 12-hour drive by land route to the northern part of the country. Besides being a coastal town, we also take pride of the verdant forests and mountains, as well as the vast coconut plantations. In fact, it is in our place where you can find the biggest coconut variety in the Philippines. This could be the reason why the Grey-faced buzzards have included our place in their annual migration route, hence making them our frequent visitors year in and year out. The Grey-faced buzzards, locally called as sawi in northern Philippines, has always been a common sight in the municipalities of Sanchez Mira, Claveria, and Pamplona. Every year, this migratory raptor pauses for stopover in the country during its trans-equatorial flight across the Pacific, and these places I mentioned are the major foraging and roosting ground of the sawi or Grey-faced buzzard during its migration season. According to residents, before daybreak and before sunset, they would usually hear the sound of the Grey-faced buzzard, whether they are in flight or perched hunting for prey. Regrettably, the same sound is frequently used to guide hunters to their target. Recent researches reported a gradual decline in the number of bird species as it transfers the Philippine archipelago, especially in the northern part of Luzon. This could be because most people lack knowledge about these migratory birds, especially their importance in our ecological system. In this study, the researchers took into account the biographical information of the birds and its historical significance to the people. It must be noted that there is not much that is known and written about the characteristics and existence of this magnificent raptor called sawi in Cagayan, particularly in Sanchez Mira, except of course with the stories that are starting to die with the older generations. The lack of available research data in our locality and the need to record the knowledge of the old folks in the community about the existence of gray-faced buzzards or sawi were our basis in pursuing this study that is aimed at opening the minds of the locals about the gray-faced buzzard and to inculcate the love for the presence of these birds to the younger generation, that we may certainly all have the equal opportunities and joy to experience the presence of sawi in our locality. Generally, this study wanted to know the perspectives of the old folks in Sanchez Mira, Cagayan, Philippines, as regards their knowledge on the biographical information as they observed the sawi or gray-faced buzzard. Specifically, it determined their knowledge and sawi's or gray-faced buzzard's physical characteristics, habitat, diet, vocalization, foraging and roosting behavior, and migration. Furthermore, it identified the perspectives of the old folks and the historical existence and significance of the gray-faced buzzard in the municipality as the conservation initiatives of the community in protecting the sawi or gray-faced buzzard in the municipality. In order to realize this study, the following methodology was applied. The research design used was the historical and biographical research design. The study covered the barangays or localities frequented by the gray-faced buzzards in Sanchez Mira, Cagayan, and this included the barangays or localities of Calungan, Pukel, Santiago, Marzan, and Takal in this municipality. The study gathered information from 80 local residents, particularly old folks with ages ranging from 60 to 80, living in the identified locality, whereby they are expected to have observed the existence of gray-faced buzzards from their childhood days. As regards the research instrument, the guided survey was used in determining the knowledge of the old folks about the gray-faced buzzard. Also, an interview protocol was used to validate and gather more data from the respondents. Finally, the mean and percentage distribution were applied in dealing with the statistical computation of the gathered data. Guided by the research problems and the methodology for this research, may I now present the findings of the study. As regards the knowledge of the old folks of Sanchez Mira, Cagayan, Philippines regarding the biographical information of gray-faced buzzard, the following are the results. In terms of the respondents' knowledge and the characteristics of the gray-faced buzzard, all the old folks claimed that there is no distinct difference in the colors between a male and a female gray-faced buzzard. The gray plumage that envelopes the head part is common among the birds, as expressed by 89% of the respondents. Subsequently, 95% of them stated that a dominant brown to dark brown coloration is evident in the gray-faced buzzard's long wings and tail. Some fine white feathers are manifested in between light brown feathers, starting from the throat to the vast portion of the abdomen. This characteristic is also applicable to describe the feathers attached to its thighs. Meanwhile, 88% of the respondents knew that the iris of the gray-faced buzzard is yellow and the beak is darkish brown in hue. Its feet are covered with thick yellow skin as observed by 78 out of 80 respondents, while 98% of them have seen the dark, sharp claws of the gray-faced buzzard. On the other hand, 81% of the respondents equate the bird's appearance to a hawk or an eagle. The above-mentioned information coincides with the result of the two separate studies of Atsuki in 2007 and Camp in 2015. Evidently, these physical characteristics were vividly observed by the old folks, hence manifesting their familiarity with this migratory raptor. According to the respondents, the regular presence of the gray-faced buzzard in the locality, especially during summertime, made them very familiar with it, and it's impossible not to recognize one when they see it. Based on the result of the survey, all the respondents confirmed that these migratory birds naturally stay in the thick forests within the municipality, while 76% mentioned that they see gray-faced buzzards in the low-lying mountains in Sanchez Mira, Cagayan, Philippines. These areas are adjacent to open rice fields. Huge lumber trees also occupy the locality, which in turn provides good foraging sites for the raptors. Furthermore, it was also reported that these land sections are covered with coconut trees, commonly preferred as roosting sites of the gray-faced buzzards. Records show that the gray-faced buzzards often position themselves to trees or on top of trees, and that these play important role in hunting their prey for the survival of these migratory raptors. As regards the diet of the gray-faced buzzard, data reveal that gray-faced buzzards are classified as meat eaters or carnivores. A wide diversity of prey for the buzzard is directly associated with the kind of habitat. Or all the old folks mentioned that they see the gray-faced buzzards feeding from insects such as the scarabs, or in our locality we call it abal-abal, which belongs to the subfamily of Melolonthinae of the genus Apogonia, the coconut beetle, the rice grasshoppers. They were all observed by the old folks as a common diet of the gray-faced buzzards. On the other hand, there were some old folks who said that they have seen gray-faced buzzards catching rice-field rats for food. Also, some old folks have witnessed the gray-faced buzzards feeding on a certain kind of lizard called as Luzon white-spotted forest skink, commonly known as alibut in our vernacular. The above-mentioned organisms were abundant in the locality, hence the reason why these consist the main diet of the gray-faced buzzards while laying over in Sanchez Mira for roosting. As regards the vocalization of gray-faced buzzard, it was noted that multiple vocal sounds were imitated by the respondents with reference to the way they heard the creature's voice. First is pikwi, which gives a stress on the first syllable followed by the second syllable at a long fading sound. This sound was imitated by 86% of the old folks. Second is tikwi. This is the contrasting version of the first one with a difference in its first letter as mentioned by 70% of the respondents. And the last one is the eek sound, which is the usual voice created by the raptor or the gray-faced buzzard when tied in captivity. This sound was verified by 89% of the respondents. This finding is a first-hand evidence that the respondents had already been in a close encounter with the birds, perhaps associated to the fact that they can actually copy or imitate the sounds of the gray-faced buzzards. According to the old folks, they usually observe the birds perched on trees in nearby open rice fields or grassy areas. But most of the times they see them on top of coconut trees since it is abundant in the locality. The respondents explained that these buzzards wait patiently for their prey, and when the prey is already in sight, the bird lunges down in a very fast manner and grabs the unfortunate creature using its sharp and strong claws, an ambush-like method That is how all the respondents describe the gray-faced buzzard's method of catching its prey for food. Meanwhile, 100% of the respondents confirm that they usually see the gray-faced buzzards during the months of March to April. This agrees with Francesco in 2009, who explained that there were more buzzards migrating during crosswind in spring when the path takes them closely to adjacent country, one of which is the Philippines. According to the old folks, this month is a harvesting season, and people are usually working on rice fields, thus allowing them to see the flight of the raptors over the open areas. Moving on, the results show the historical information about gray-faced buzzard from the perspectives of the old folks in Sanchez Mira, Cagayan, Philippines. It must be noted that there are no available records as to the first emergence of gray-faced buzzards in our locality. Thus, the exact date when Sawis started roosting in the locality is unknown. But community people were able to provide information as to when they had the first sightings, well, at least during their lifespan. According to 84% of the respondents, they have seen gray-faced buzzards since their childhood days. With the ages of the respondents, 1942 was the earliest possible year of sighting among the group of respondents. On the other hand, 16% said that they have seen gray-faced buzzards all throughout their teenage years, from their teenage years until now. From the result of the study also, it was found out that the people believe that the gray-faced buzzards contributed much to the overall state of the ecosystem surrounding the area. 96% specified that these raptors play an important role in the pest control in their farms. The mutualistic relationship between gray-faced buzzards and these farmers are evident with the fact that they observe that there are lesser pests when the gray-faced buzzards are around. Another important contribution was the ability of the birds to attract tourists. 25% of the respondents mentioned such information. Because of the gray-faced buzzards, the town of Sanchez Mira in Cagayan, Philippines has already started building its reputation as a good raptor watching site in this part of the country. And to protect the gray-faced buzzards, there are some ordinances and projects that were established for the conservation of the said raptor. With these findings, the conclusions are hereby presented. The older folks in the community are knowledgeable about the biographical characteristics and historical existence of the gray-faced buzzards, which roost in Sanchez Mira during its migration. Second, the locals recognize the important role of the gray-faced buzzard in helping farmers in pest management, thus providing a mutualistic relationship. Moreover, the sawi or gray-faced buzzard contributes in promoting tourism in the locality. The community participates actively in the protection of sawi or gray-faced buzzard, thus eliminating cases of bird hunting in the locality. And from the findings and conclusion, the recommendations were given. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
Thank you very much. Let us thank Associate Professor Dr. Valino Di Badu, for the interesting finding on the gray-faced buzzard study or sawi in Philippines on behalf of his Professor Wano. All right, and then he talk about how important is this species to the community as the pest control management, and of course the potentials of this sawi or gray-faced buzzard for the tourist attractions, especially in Sanchez Mira, Cagayan, Philippines. So we open the floor for question. Any of you have question for Associate Professor Dr. Badu? Yeah, Doctor, there is a comment there. Thank you for your great presentation. If we can put up the comment, type up I find it is very useful to always engage the local community, especially in citizens science. They are our local experts. Can you comment on that?
Yes, it's really important to involve our locals, the people in the community, in the conservation and the protection of these migratory birds, especially with the fact that there are no enough available recorded data about these migratory raptors that come to our locality. And this is a good way, of course, to promote the protection and appreciation of the younger generation on the presence of these migratory birds who come to our place during their migration period. Thank you, Mr. Nang.
Okay. Right. Any other question? We still have time, about 2 minutes. All right, going 1, going 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so we don't have any question. So if you have question, we can ask directly to Dr. Badu. Yeah. All right, thank you, Doctor, for the very interesting presentations. So let us go to the 6 presentations this morning about a 5-year comparative study of raptor migrations count at Cape San Agustin at Philippines, records from 2016 until 2020, which will be presented by Dennis P. Milanio. Okay, please, sir, the floor is yours.
Comparative study of raptor migration count at Cape San Agustin, Lavigan, Governor Generoso, Davao Oriental, Philippines, from 2016 to 2020. This study was conducted by Lantau Birdwatch Club members and Mr. Dennis P. Milanio of Governor Generoso College of Arts, Sciences and Technology, or GGCAS. The 5-year raptor migration counts at Cape San Agustin was a result of a collaborative effort of the Asian Raptor Research and Conservation Network, or ARRCN, Raptor Watch Network Philippines, local government of Governor Generoso, and Governor Generoso College of Arts, Sciences and Technology. In the study conducted by Sir Alex M. Chonco and Ma'am Teresa A. Cerbero of Raptor Watch Network Philippines, they found that the Cape San Agustin route was significant in monitoring raptor migration. They convened with the local government unit through our tourism officer, Sir Joey Gamau, our municipal mayor, Honorable Katrina Joy H. Orencia, and our vice mayor, Vicente D. Orencia. Their recommendation was to involve the academe and make them partners in this annual activity. The opportunity for a new field of research motivated the college president, Dr. Rosita J. Bustamante, together with their research coordinator, Dennis P. Milanio, to be part of it. A group was then organized and composed by students and faculty members who were interested in monitoring raptor migration from September 15 up to October 30 of each year. The group was then later on called Lantau Birdwatch Club. Moreover, the ARRCN with the Raptor Watch Network Philippines provided us the necessary equipments to help us in the monitoring process and also financial assistance. The objective of this study is to know the development of raptor migration in Cape San Agustin within 5 years. The method employed in this study was direct observation with the help of some equipments and tally sheets. A site was chosen where most of raptors appear during their migration. With the equipments at hand, species of raptors were identified through the use of spotting scope. The binoculars were used for counting the raptors passing through. When it is in a big flock, then they are counted by quadrants. Tally sheets were then used for recording the count of raptors every day. As seen in the East Asia Flyway, during autumn migration, the Philippines has one entry point and could have many exit points. The study site, Cape San Agustin, was located in Barangay Lavigan, Governor Generoso, Davao Oriental, Philippines. It is approximately 6 degrees 16 minutes and 10 seconds north and 126 degrees 11 minutes and 34 seconds east above sea level. On the eastern part of the cape is the Davao Gulf, while on the western part of the cape is the Pacific Ocean. Most of the raptors migrating goes directly to the southwest direction. Only few raptors traverse the southeast direction. As shown in the table, the overall total count of migrating raptors using the Cape San Agustin route was 134,198 for 5 years. The highest total of migrating raptors counted was in the year 2020, which has a total of 38,414. This was then followed by the year 2019 with a total of 34,787. The third highest count tallied was in the year 2018 with a total of 30,671. At the beginning of migration, only few raptors were observed in the Cape. However, as migration continues, more raptors are seen passing over the monitoring site, especially in the start of October till the end of the month. Only in the year 2018 that the count started high and ended low. So the overall monitoring count of raptors started low and ended high with high counts of migrating raptors. The number of migrating raptors using the Cape San Agustin route was not that high due to the unpredictable weather condition. There were days that we were not able to count because of the effect of typhoons, northeast monsoon, and southeast monsoon since the start of monitoring in 2016. As shown in this table, there was a clear gradual increase in the number of migrating raptors from September 16 to 30 up to October 16 to 30. The highest count recorded was in the last 15 days of October, which has a number of 60,581 raptors. The highest count was in 2020 with 24,029 raptors within 15 days. The second highest was in 2019 with 18,730, and the third highest count was in 2017 with 10,566 raptors. On the other hand, 2016 and 2018 ended with very few counts of only 2,537 for 2016 and 4,766 for 2018. It was only in 2018 that the count started high with 11,140 raptors. The figures in the table presented has projected an increase of migrating raptors using the Cape San Agustin route for the past 5 years of monitoring. Most of the years started with low counts and ended with high counts of raptors. This only means that the bulk of raptor migration in the Cape took place in the last 15 days of October. The increase in the number of raptors counted during migration suggests that this annual activity must be sustained. This has the potential for future studies and raptor conservation advocacy. This study may serve as an eye-opener to those communities to value their natural resources, thus leading to its conservation. For students taking up research, this could be a good field of study to venture. For local government unit, they may continue to support this annual activity through the tourism office. Lastly, with high hopes, may other international, Asian, or local organizations help us develop our skills and knowledge on bird watching. They may also donate equipments for that. Thank you and good day, everyone.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Dennis Melanio, yeah, talking about their experience, 5 years comparative study on raptor migrations count at Cape San Agustin, the Philippines. So if we notice just now, the number of raptors they observed within the area is increased from 2016 to 2020. So if we have question, so you may ask the question. Mr. Marino, are you with us, right? Are you there?
Yes, sir. I'm
Yeah.
with
Okay.
you right now.
All right.
I'm with my group.
And they have the group from College of Art, Science, and Technology. Yeah. All right. So, any question? All right. There is a question from the chat box. It is be really interesting to see how does count relate with weather condition. Maybe this question is related to how the weather play important role in what decreasing number of raptor within this area. Can you reply on that?
Yes, sir. The count really decreases when the weather condition is unfavorable, since the Cape is on the tip of the island of the Philippines, and it is oftentimes affected by the weather coming from Pacific Ocean and also coming from the Davao Gulf. So the migrating raptors tend to look for other ways or other exit points in the Philippines where they can fly again for another island. So that is why in Sarangani province, another presenter had most of the counts, only few were counted in Cape San Agustin.
Okay, thank you very much for the answer. Any other question? Okay, all right, there is another question from Lim King Chi. The question is, do you know if there are still many passing in November? This is the question there.
Yes, sir. There are still migrating birds. However, they are more bigger. Like for example, those migrating birds in September to October are mostly Chinese sparrowhawks. And then when November comes, it is again the time for Grey-faced Buzzard and osprey. Yet we only cover the September to October migration.
Okay, that's the
Thank you for the answer.
Yeah. Any other question? All right, going 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Dennis P. Malino and the groups for a very interesting study on the monitoring of raptor migration at Cape San Agustin, Philippines. Thank you very much. So we goes to the last but not least, the last papers this morning in these sessions. The role of monitoring, rescue, and rehabilitations of Gyps vultures in reducing the rate of mortality in Raigad, India, from the Society of Eco-Endangered Species Conservation and Protection, Mahat, Raigad, India, will be presented by Premsaga Mesri. Yeah. All right, sir. The floor is yours. So they have recording presentation. Yeah. Okay. You may start the presentation.
Namaste. Warmly welcome from India. I'm very much happy to see all the screens, and I've been with they attending all the lectures. ARRCN 2022 is happening. 12th Asian Raptor Research and Conservation Network Symposium, and hosting responsibilities are taken by Malaysia. So I'm very much happy to see Malaysians. Actually, I wish to join this year because since many years I'm attending in Thailand and elsewhere in Taiwan as well as Japan, then in Indonesia. I was very desperately wish to attend this conference in Malaysia. My Malaysian friends have been to India and in India at my place where the vulture conservation is going on. And the second time, this Malaysian, all these nature lovers, they are handling these 2022 to ARRCN conference, 12th Asian Raptor Research Conference for this time. And the theme is challenges of raptor research and conservation in rapid changing the environment. The environment is now going very badly under very much crisis, like the nature disaster, the happening of all the climatic variations, which creates the havoc because of the cyclones. Means my area, it is badly hit by the cyclone of Nisarga, as well as the other 2-3 cyclones which have happened since 2 years, and those have affected to the raptors nesting sites as well as their population, that is degraded to 28%. So warmly welcomes from India by SISCAPE, Society of Eco-Endangered Species Conservation and Protection. This is an NGO which is working west coast of Maharashtra in India, and myself is Prem Sagar. We are working on especially 2 species, Oriental whiteback vultures, that is Oriental white rump vultures, Gyps bengalensis, which are tree nestlers, and next it is Indian long-billed vultures, Gyps indicus. Those are nestling in cliffs, means in high mountains where the cliffs are there, in the cliffs hole they are making their nest. So these 2 species, they are struggling and living on critically endangered declared by IUCN, and totally there are 9 species found in India, and vulture plays an important role in our ecosystem, whereas the theme, it concerns with ecosystem and of course the existence of human beings, because the viruses and the viral infections, diseases, those are spread worldwide, and since 3 years we are suffering a lot, and the main cause is we have lost the chain of the main decomposers, and those are the scavengers, and vultures are the utmost scavengers which are feeding on the dead carcasses, and dead carcasses where the bacteria and viruses grow taken place, and from viruses the diseases they occur, and because of diseases we human beings too suffer. And so vulture plays an important role to clean the ecosystem. Since 2000, the attempts have been made by our Society of Eco-Endangered Species Conservation and Protection, an NGO, in short SISCAPE, working at Mahat, Mangaon, Pali, Masla and Srivardhan Tehsil in the district Raigad, the west coast of Maharashtra. Causes of population decline in my place are something different. In 1999, I have read the paper from BNHS as well as RSPB that the vultures population is degrading very fastly, And so far, we have been conducted in 1997 the bird lover conference in my area, and at that time we have shown the bird lovers many these places where the vultures nesting colonies were there. But in 1999 and 2000 we have two lost the colonies, and then the first case in front of us came, it is habitat loss. Then second is forest fire. Habitat loss is the biggest problem because the money lenders and investors, they are investing a lot in farming and the other activities, and since they are purchasing hundred and thousands acres of land, hectares of land, they are just degrading that land in a very bad quality, just moving a pokeland and jcps and leveling the land and putting the grass crops. So mining and farming projects close to breeding sites are the main threats. Starvation due to inadequate food means in India, as the cleanly village concept have been just launched by government since before 25 years. And that cleanliness, it has been told by government that whatever the dead carcasses are, they are those supposed to buried in the ground. So the villagers started burying, otherwise they are throwing to the rivers. And so neither they are putting all that carcasses to the ground where the traditional feeding grounds were there, where the vultures used to feed. So falling of nestlings and juveniles before their first flight is another problem which came uh, in these 10 to 15 years of experience when we monitor the all breeding activities as well as the first flight of those individuals in the nest. And then indirect conflict with coconut farmer workers in coastal area where the coconut farms are there, and because of loss of habitat, the vultures are adjusting their nest on coconut trees. The coconut trees, the farmers, they are using their workers to clean out those coconut to take out the crops, and in that conflict it comes. So climate change impact like cyclones, heavy rains, and cloudy climate, it also create the dropping of all this population to certain of 28% that have been counted since 2 years. Lack of vultures rescue and treatment facilities we have. Means after falling that chick or that juveniles from the nest, we don't have proper, labs and in the remote areas, the transport and all the facilities. So at that time, immediately we can't provide things what are required. Human disturbance during breeding seasons and inadequate funding. So in this is the district map where we are working. You can see the this is Pali area, where in the cliff of this mountain, this is the Sahyadri mountain ranges, where the 3000 feet or 2000 feet high mountain cliffs are there. Then this is Nanemachi, this is Chirgaon, and this is Srivardhan. In Chirgaon and Srivardhan, the white rump vultures are nesting, which are used to nest on trees, whereas in the cliff, the longbill vultures, they are nesting. So these two population, they are moving around this 128 square kilometer areas. This is the west coast down to, this is Mumbai, and down to the area. You can see since 2000 regular monitoring of vultures nesting nesting activities were conducted in the study area, district Raigad. The latitude 1857 north and 1758 north longitude, and 7256 inches to 7335 inches to the this is the area which is defined by our volunteers and expertise. Observations of vultures nest were made with the help of binocular and spot scopes, and nest sites were visited by walking or patrolling vehicles because the area of all these cities 102 square kilometers. So each area, it takes quite a 4 to 6 hours to go into remote and to walk to the mountains areas and to go by pedal. So in October and July, especially during the peak breeding seasons, we see the nest and nesting activities, and we take countdown. We train volunteers, and for that vulture estimation program have been conducted by our NGO since 10 years. In that, the forest officials, those have involved the local all villagers, which are the head of the villages, they have been gathered and conducted meeting regarding awareness program, how they are making nest, in what way we have to protect their nest, in what way the villagers, they should supply us the dead carcasses. Everything is defined in this awareness program, which have been conducted 2 to 3 months to cover 68 villages. Regular awareness programs were conducted in various villages in district 2, and by conducting the awareness program, network of local informants and the farmers that have been formed to get regular information about the dead carcasses, because we have basically problems of food first. We are not getting regularly food. So unless we don't have the proper network of villages where the livestock is there, we couldn't get regular food. So whenever in the accident on the road or in natural death, there is carcasses available, the villagers are just ringing us and we get information. So any injured vulture or falling juveniles, if it observed on the field or if it observed in the villagers are to inform us and be monitored and successfully rehabilitate those all populations. A strictly monitor of vulture nest was carried out during and after Nisarga cyclone within 2 years. So this is the Srivardhan area you can see here. The Srivardhan forest officials, Mr. Raut, who is RFO, and his other colleagues, and also the villagers regarding these all things. So cyclone is the basic problem. Now the 3 years we are suffering means before cyclone, we have seen that we have experienced only 1 to 2 or 3 juveniles were falling down. So means after monitoring or taking conservations of all these nesting sites, we also monitor the fallen chicks very keenly, because rescue and rehabilitation of fallen chicks or fallen juveniles is very important aspects of conservation. Unless and until you can't count them and you can't take care of them and release them very safely, the overall conservation work 100% it will not considered. So due to series of natural disasters like Taukte, the flood, the landslides, the high cloud burst, all the heavy rains, the vulture breeding colonies, you can see in the videos how they are shaking the coconut trees. So suppose on these coconut trees, the nests are there. In what way the nest it is in the safe condition? You can see how the cyclone on the heavy rain, they are shaking the trees. So in this way, after cyclone or at the, actually at that time, the juveniles are falling. So that way, in that time or during that period, we strictly patrol the roads, and on the roads we are getting in such a way the debris of all falling trees and the disaster. You can see in the picture how the nesting colonies are there. These are all nesting colonies, and all the nesting trees, they have fallen down. And you can see our volunteer, he is just examining or analyzing whether he could have found a single chick or a single juvenile. So you can see this single juvenile here, he have lost his home. So on the neighbor trees here, the big mango tree was there where these juvenile and its parents were there. There was a nest, but falling of that nest, this is the Srivardhan site, urban site, and in this city, you can see the broken trees and all that after cyclone. So this juvenile is trying to safeguard itself. So our volunteers, these all are volunteers, and they are trying to catch him. And in this way, we monitor every the nesting sites and the chances we could have get to know what had happened or what is happening. So on coastal area, the cyclone, when it drives all the trees to, or the force of all that cyclone, when it drives all the tree branches or the things to the sea area or coastal area, it also take the juveniles or parents to the cyclonic moment. So in this way, the population, it get hurted, it get death had occurred, and we have found the 7 to 6 dead bodies on the coastal areas to the sand. So we have collected these all dead vultures, juveniles, as well as the matured or parents, and then in this way we have found nearly 23% of the population is dropped. Then second threat about the falling of juveniles is the choice of or the selection of trees, because they are unable, or because there are loss of habitat. Many wild trees, they have been lost because of loss of habitat and cash crop plantation. The vultures, they are selecting the trees of coconut for their nest. So you can see how the juveniles are trying the first flight. You can see when the juveniles, they are actually taking off, they are trying the first flight. And at a time of flying, spreading their wings, if you see the shaking branch, if it missed, and then it loses its balance, and to put that all weight or to hold that branch properly, especially that single branch of coconut, it fails to balance or fails to hold, it directly fell down to the ground. So in this way, on especially from coconut trees, the falling rate of juveniles is greater. This year you can see clearly in this picture we have also the second thing, it is that the from the first flight, when juveniles they are taking flight after 3 to 5 kilometer from a main urban area, you can see this is the village where one of the shop is there. The juveniles they are fails to travel long distance, and because of starvation and low calories or low energy, they take rest or they fall down. And you can see we have rescued our one of the Ganesh Kodgaonkar and his colleagues from that area. They have rescued this vulture and juvenile. So this is actually happened when the first flight taken by the juveniles, they fails to cover 5 kilometer distance or 7 kilometer distance, and so they can't find the proper feeding grounds or any other grounds. Then these are the after cyclone. Also, we found in the farms one of the juveniles. The 8 juveniles was rescued. So during the month of March, April, and May, we have rescued this year 9 vultures. So one juvenile, it was caught dead in the Nala, which was the first rescue, and the 8 rescue, those were very nicely, rescued and kept in the cages. We have made these cages which have been used for transportation of the juveniles from where they find out of rescue to the centers. So we have published the news that within the 3 months, 6 vultures have been rescued. Within the 2 months, 3 vultures have been rescued from the local newspaper. So that from local areas, 178 villages, they get informations about this, and whenever they will notice in villages or on the road while traveling or any vehicle, they just inform us. So this is the forest area where we are using
फॉरेस्ट ऑफिशियल
the
रूम आपण गिधाडांसाठी करत होतो
the
तयार.
rooms and we are
गणेश
getting temporary cages.
आणि आपले
Or
प्रशांत
one
सर हे
of
दोघेही छान
the
मदत
volunteers,
करतात.
Prashant Kamble
जाळे
and
आणण्यापासून
Ganesh
सगळं ठेवण्यापासून
Kodgaonkar,
ते
they are
काम
making
करतात.
the cages. These rooms are fenced by, or they are packed by the mesh, and in this way we have made 4 rooms, and 2 other, the juveniles which are capable of having flight, they have been live freely, which have been which have been taken flight by 2 months. Then for monitoring, we have appointed the MSc students. This is Pooja and this is Samia, which are doing their duties to feed them, to keep clean cages, and also to look after them whether any injuries or any infections is there. So in this way, both are working very sincerely. Total, we are 28 volunteers working in these 8 areas where we could get chances of rescues. Then these are all journalists and farm owners which have been called for meeting and get informed about how the importance of falling chicks have been taken to rescue points. This is one of the Eurasian griffon vulture which was rescued in 2016 near Mahat town, and that have been looked after for 3 months, and after getting 1.5 kg weight, gaining weight, it have been released very successfully. Then second one on releasing, this is the Nanimachi site where we are releasing this is the griffon vulture, Eurasian griffon vulture. This is our team. Then every vulture, this is also Himalayan griffon vulture. We have been rescued 2 Himalayan griffon vultures and 1 Eurasian griffon vulture. So migratory birds or migratory vultures, they are wintering to my sites, and also sometimes because of starvation also we rescued or came across such a juveniles, and time by time with forest officials we rescued and look after those juveniles for 3 to 4 months, gaining weight and everything, and then we released successfully. Till date, we have successfully released nearly 28 vultures. So neither we have a single record of death. Nowadays, we have kept 4 vultures. One of the vultures have been rescued very successfully, which is mixed wild. But 3 vultures we are looking after till it is going on, because the cyclone and the rainy period, it is going strengthening this year for nearly 6 months. So it was supposed to stop before October, but raining and the cyclonic period, it was still to 22nd of October. So far, you can see the white back and longbill vultures graph, how we have occurred, in what way, in what percentage we have got it. Next. So in this way, monitoring nesting site plays an important role in rescue and rehabilitation. Unless you can't keenly monitor the daily observations from each site, there is no use. So everywhere where we have 8 breedings, and the movement of the vultures, those are sites.
Sir, you have
We are
5
regularly
minutes. Yeah.
monitoring, appointing the students as well as the volunteers. And during this period of since 13 March, nearly about nine vultures have been rescued. It proved that loss of habitat, shifting of colonies to new areas affects the following of all these vultures. This year, during vultures release program conducted on 23rd October, with the State Forest Department permission and technical collaboration with ELA Foundation, as well as the Forest Department of State of Maharashtra, Pune, 4 vultures have been ringed and successfully released. So I'm very much thankful for giving me chance to speak with you, and also I'm very much thankful for State Forest Department, especially PCCF, Dr. Limia Sahib, then our all forest officials, Ramarao, and the all Nikat Sahib, and the State Forest official, all RFOs who are working with us, and my all colleagues and all teamwork and all volunteers with all villages who are really keenly observe and just inform us about the falling of the juveniles. So this is all about my rescue work since 15 to 16 years we are doing, and the rescue is very important part of our conservation, where I think from India only our NGO is doing this work in mass amount. I'm reading some news which are from MPs, from UPs, as well as from Mumbai, other areas, where they rescues vultures. Those have been treated for 15 days or a month and then release. So we need one rescue and release center at our place, and we are trying with forest officials this time. Thank you.
Thank you very much for Prince Agamestri, from the Society of Endangered Species Conservations and Protection, Mahat Raigad, India, regarding the monitoring, rescue, and rehabilitations of Gyps vultures in Raigad, India. So they have few challenges in conserving this species. They have a few causes of the declining of the species within the study areas, and also they have a awareness program to make sure that these species will be lasting in the future. So if we have the question, if we have any question for our presenter, please you can ask the question. We have 2 minutes. Yeah. Any question? So I have a question that how you teach the community to make sure that they keen in conserve this vulture species in
Actually, yes, actually we are involved the villages. Actually, it is a theme of community conservation where 168 villages have been involved in my district from 8 places, and so we have good network, and since 20 years we are working with the publishing papers in newspapers and as well as the awareness program. Now it is everywhere awareness have been created and everybody knows about our activities. So the involvement of community is greater here, and so the chances of rescue of these juveniles it is good in number. So very least means we don't have a still record of one death of any juvenile, because keenly monitoring the nest. Previously we were having only 2 nests in 1999, and now we have 84 nests at the coconut or farm sites of wide-back vultures and long-bill vultures. Now population grows from 28 to 300 within these 20 years. So everybody is aware. We are conducting the slideshows, the presentations, then poster presentations, as well as the exhibitions, through which we can convey the people that whether there will be finding of any jewel on road or any in the field or any forest, please inform us, and the informants, they inform us. So in this way, we are working with the community and the local people.
Okay, thank you, sir. Is there any question apart from that? We still have about 2 minutes, yeah? Going 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. If there are no question, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you
for your very interesting presentations and your group from the Society of Eco Endangered Species Conservation and Protection, Mahat Raigad, India. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Right. Okay, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. So we are at the end of our session. So before I hand over the floor to organizing committee, let me wrap up everything from all of the presenter just now. So our first presenter talk about the community engagement on Flores Hawk-Eagles and how this species is very important to the community and how the community involved in the conservations of the Flores Hawk-Eagles. Our second and third presenter talking about the palm oil in the experience in Malaysia on the translocations and the sustainable of palm oil and palm oil in Malaysia, and then the use of palm oil as the biological control within the soil palm plantations. And also our fourth presenter emphasized on the breeding program of the palm oil in Thailand, experience and long-term breeding program in the area, including the reintroduction and translocation program. And then our fourth presenter emphasized on the historical-biographical study on the Grey-faced Buzzard or the sawi, and then how important is this species to the community as the pest control, and also the potential for the tourist attractions. And the sixth presenter talking about their experience study of raptor migrations at Cape San Agustin, the Philippines. So they said that the number of raptor keep on increasing year by year since 2016 to 2020. And last but not least, our last presenter talking about the challenges, yeah, in rehabilitate, in monitoring and rescue the Gyps vultures in their study area. So thank you very much for all of the presenter this morning. We give all of our presenter a big thank you. And with that, I hand over the floor to the organizing committee. Thank you very much.